Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. We will start this meeting with a pledge to the flag, and I will ask Director Clark to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Director.
You're welcome, sir.
We'll start with the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replay on Saturday, August 26, 2017 at 12 noon, and Sunday, August 27, 2017 at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. Webcast is at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district's website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Right now is the public opportunity to discuss matters of interest, whether or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
There are no speakers this evening.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar. I have a note here that we'll start off with a comment from the clerk regarding an edit in the meeting minutes.
Thank you, President Wood. It was brought to my attention that on page 3 of 5 of the action summary minutes for August 10th, there was an error made, and the correct language should read, presentation received. This was for introduction purposes. A vote will be taken during the meeting on August 24th, not August 27th. So that has been changed, and I wanted to make sure that was read for the vote this evening.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the clerk on that?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we adopt.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Can I get the vote, please?
Director Gale. Gould.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to take a brief recess into closed session, and we will be back shortly. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. We'll move on now to the presentation items. Brenda Briggs. Welcome.
I'm going to talk into this. Good evening, Board of Directors, President Wood, Chief Harms, and staff. My name is Brenda Briggs, and I work in the Community Relations Division. And this is
Captain Pritchard, 55B.
And we coordinated fire camp this year, so we're pleased to bring that to you. I'm going to first start our presentation with a video.
Metro Fire Camp is one of our programs that we have. It's the education of children as far as fire safety goes, and it gives the public more of an insight into what our job is, and we do that by letting them do a lot of the activities that we perform on a regular basis.
The kids are going to learn how to connect hose, roll hose, fire brigade, climb ladders. They're learning about fire safety.
They learn CPR. We actually had a camper that performed CPR on somebody after coming to our camp and actually was successful in saving that person's life. So some of the skills actually get to be used in real life, which is pretty cool, I think.
Okay, why did I keep going? You know what? You know what?
The purpose behind Metro Fire's Fire Camp is to, at a young age, instill some of the values that we find beneficial when searching for eligible candidates to come into the fire service.
We'll hopefully give these kids a chance to think about this career, gives them the opportunity to truly experience and see what it would be like, and help them make that dream come true if that's what they want.
All right, so as you saw, Fire Camp is an exciting outreach program that we provide to kids in our community. Our mission here summarizes the principles of our program. It's a youth camp that instills teamwork and self-confidence, teaches life skills, and gives the kids a basic understanding of the firefighting profession. We've been doing this for 20 years. Fire camp was the brilliant idea of Chief Haverty, who started it in 1997. He worked then for one of our predecessor agencies, the American River Fire District. To date, this is the largest community outreach program, and I'm proud to say that we have mentored or interacted with over 1,000 kids. You should also know that we've inspired fire departments locally and nationwide to start their own fire camp. Every year I get a call from another fire department somewhere in the area that wants to know if I'll share all the information that we have on our fire camp. And of course I always do, because it's such a great program. I want to see it expand out. For those of you who are not aware of Fire Camp's a 4-day day camp held at Fire Station 21 in Citrus Heights. We offer the camp to 80 kids, and all the kids are between the ages of 11 to 13. During fire camp, the kids are grouped into strike teams of 8, and they're all mentored by professional firefighters. As the week progresses, the team takes on their own character. They give themselves a name, they make a flag, and they develop this great team camaraderie. We do charge $100 per camper, but we also offer scholarships or sponsorships. And so I want to thank Director Gale, because this year he sponsored a child out of his area. And I think Troy really enjoyed it. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So now I'm going to turn it over to Captain Pritchard.
So as Brenda alluded to and talked a little bit about, was there's key principles that we try to teach them throughout the week, and the 3 being teamwork, self-confidence, life skills. We'll go into kind of each one and talk about just very briefly each one. The other one I wanted to add to that was accountability, and that's one we do push throughout the week, and there's consequences if they aren't accountable for each other. Some of the teamwork stuff is the bucket brigade, water hockey, and the make or break. Some of the things for life safety, things they could take into their adulthood was hands-on CPR, the use of a fire extinguisher, and then also water safety skills. For the camp finale, which ends at the end of the week, we feed approximately just over 300 people, and that is quite an undertaking. And we also do competitions and awards that go with that. What does success look like? Firefighter Salmons, the gentleman you saw interviewed in the video, he actually went to fire camp as a camper, and therefore he escalated. Now he's a firefighter down at 50 on B shift on the truck. Tyler Kraft also, 21 B shift. And there's a couple others out there, just to name a few here. Another success story was camper Skylar Berry. Firefighter Salmons had alluded to that as well. And she was at a birthday party and she was able to put CPR into play just after fire camp. So that's pretty impressive. I'll hand it back over to Brenda.
Thank you. This is our all-camp photo. And you can see in this photo, which is a lot of people there, there's 100 and some people there, but that's just some of the people that contribute to fire camp. Thanks to a large amount of amazing people, we're able to offer this program to kids, and the program has both short and long-term effects. I'm proud the way every person involved exceeds their expectations to make sure that kids have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So, speaking of kids, I'd like to invite up a camper who would like to briefly tell you about his experience at fire camp. So, Max Manfredi, can you come up here? It was on.
Test.
I think you can hear it. Can you hear it?
That or we can use that.
Go ahead. Okay, whichever one.
Hello, everybody. My name is Max Manfredi, and my dad is Captain Ryan Manfredi, and I went to fire camp 2 years, and I think it is an amazing experience for 10 or 11 through 13-year-olds because I learned a lot of things like putting out fire, spraying at the base of the fire, and mainly working as a team for everything. And one of my favorite activities was the make and break, where you run and you have to connect the couplings as a team, and then you have to run back because you have to spray down the cone. And I thought that was a pretty fun activity. And yeah, it teached a lot of kids. And in my future, I would love to be a firefighter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Max. And it does take a lot to get up here and talk in front of you guys, so he's amazing if you ask me. I want to end my presentation with thank yous. I'm so appreciative to you, the Board of Directors, for your continued support. Thanks to all the firefighters along the way, especially this guy, because he puts up with me at fire camp. I want to thank the staff and all the volunteers that play a key role in making this outreach program successful. And I want to thank everyone that's seen the value of fire camp, and they've given their time to make a meaningful impact, not only on the kids, but a significant impact in our community. So thank you, and if you have any questions, we can now take questions. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Do we have any questions for Brenda?
A comment.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that presentation. My two older daughters, they were able to go last year, and our youngest looks, up to them, and she just cannot wait till next year to go to it. And so that's all I hear. And Ariana and Alexis got to do this, and so it's really, I'm very excited for her to be able to be part of it. So thank you so much, because this is such an awesome opportunity.
Great.
Any other comments, or Director Gold?
Brenda, I just want to thank you for all your work as you spread the love to everybody else. This wouldn't happen without you. I mean, it's absolutely obvious to us that without your leadership, this would never be in a 20th year. That is to be celebrated at the highest levels. And it's also exciting to see that it's our strongest recruitment tool. It takes about 20 years to get them to the force, but that's not bad, right?
What's scary about it is I'm still here. But yes, exactly.
I didn't say that. I want that to be on the record, that I made no mention of that at all. But kudos to all of your hard effort and work and leadership to make this such a fine example in the community. And I'd also say that there probably ought to start being some kind of consulting fee when somebody wants to just replicate what awesomeness we have, right? There's another revenue stream for the department.
I'll look into that, Director Gold.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
If I could just jump on that. Again, I appreciate the efforts that you put forth as well as all the other camp counselors, because they all take vacation time or some type of compensated time or uncompensated time off. And it's important to recognize that they are all part of something that has made a big impact on a lot of young people's lives.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Director. That's, Brenda, I also wanted to say thank you for all the work you and the people you work with put in. And I don't think the comment that Director Kelly made is known wide enough that everyone that's out there is doing this on their own time. Nobody's getting paid while they're out there. None of the counselors are getting paid. They're doing this because of the work, because of what they get back from it, and to help the kids. And I've been out there the last couple of years in the finales, and I've loved watching them. The competitions are great. The kids have a blast, and all week long they just have a great time. So thank you for everything you do.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Any other comments for Brenda? Thank you so much, Brenda.
Really wonderful.
Brenda, how did you make it look like no one's sweating out there? It was the middle of July, and everybody in the video looked like they were just having just a good time and everything.
That's lots of water.
Lots of water.
Lots
okay.
of water, yes.
All right, we'll move on to our action items. We'll start with number 1, the medical aid and ambulance transport user fee ordinance. Amanda Thomas and Chief Hine.
Good evening, directors, Chief Harms, Amanda Thomas, Chief Financial Officer. So at the last board meeting on August 10th, the board conducted a public hearing of a proposed ordinance amending the district's ambulance fee schedule. At that meeting, Chief Hine and I presented information on the district's EMS costs and revenues, as well as the proposed adjustments to the fee schedule needed to keep pace with the cost increases since the rates were last adjusted in 2012. During the public hearing, no members of the public spoke in opposition to the matter, and a representative of Local 522 spoke in support of adopting the ordinance. Unless there are further questions from the board at this time, staff recommends that the board adopt ordinance 2017-01 to be effective September 1st, 2017.
Do we have any comments or questions for Ms. Thomas or Chief Hine from the board?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we adopt as the second reading staff's recommendation.
I've got a motion and a second. Can we call the vote, please?
Dr. Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The second item on our agenda is, on the action items, is the industrial disability retirement of Scott Schneider, and this is with Deputy Chief Casantini.
Good evening, Board. Greg Casantini, Deputy Chief. Good evening, Chief Harms. So we're here to discuss tonight the industrial disability retirement for Engineer Scott Schneider. Engineer Schneider has been employed by Sac Metro since February 23rd of 2004. So over the last 13 and a half years, he served very honorably, but he came down with cumulative trauma relating to skin cancer and also cardiac issues as well. A doctor's report dated July 18, 2017, stated that Engineer Schneider has suffered job-related injuries and now has permanent work restrictions. As a result, this prevents him from returning to work as an engineer and qualifies him for industrial disability retirement. There will be an additional cost because Engineer Schneider has not made sufficient contributions towards CalPERS, towards his retirement. Typically, that's 17 years, so he's a few short of that. Excuse me. So staff's recommendation is that the board adopts a resolution finding Scott Schneider has suffered job-related injuries, incapacitating him for the performance of duties as an engineer, and direct staff to continue working with Scott Schneider through his industrial disability retirement process with CalPERS. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Chief. Can we get a motion on staff's
Mr. Chair, I
recommendation?
make a motion that we adopt the resolution.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second. Can we get the vote, please?
Dr. Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Sheets. Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Wood.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Jerry.
We'll move on to reports. President's report, I don't have anything to report. Fire Chief, Chief Arms.
Thank you, directors. It's been a busy week around here. This week we had a Captain's Academy. They have one more day to finish up tomorrow. But on August 30th, we'll be promoting 21 of those captains. Yes. So we had all the captains' helmets laid out today and badges, and went through and got them prepared to go, and spending the week talking about the roles and responsibilities. And it was I think Chief Bridges said this is the largest group of captains that we've promoted at one time. So it was quite an exciting afternoon of being able to see all the red helmets lined up over there. Along with the 21 captains that are being promoted, we'll be promoting 4 engineers that will also be moving up. And that actually expires that list for us. We'll have used everybody off the list and have to look at the next testing round for engineers' positions. We hired a new procurement specialist, Michelle Golden. We had a retirement on the 11th of firefighter Tom Hutchinson after 22 years. We're recruiting some folks for a help desk and some plant intake specialist. Goes along with some of the additions that Chief Johnson is doing over in CRD, and some of the additional people with some of the additional work that they have that's going on over there. The last thing I'll just talk about is that we have been approached by the International Association of Fire Chiefs. They started a program a few years ago that has been very successful of international, not an exchange, but we would be a host department for an international students that would come over from Saudi Arabia. They've done it about 8 different times with large metro departments, and they have been very successful. Chief Green is kind of working with the IFC and seeing what some of the benefits and maybe some of the liabilities are, and working with San Diego and a few of the other larger departments that have been involved with it and kind of what their outtake from it has been. Speaking with them, though, it has been a very, some of the folks that I know, a very positive program. So having the IFC come to us and ask us to be part of it is going to be, I think, a nice addition to some of the programs we have going on. I'd just like to take a second and have Captain Chris Vestal come up and talk about the kind of the PIO section and some of the events that are happening throughout the district.
Good evening, President Wood, Board Directors, Chief Harms. Gonna work on getting a few presentations up. And to piggyback off of what Brenda Briggs already showed today, we're trying to do a lot more video. And it's kind of more of a global district initiative rather than just us in community relations, but also working a lot with the recruitment team. And the video that you saw was one of the initiatives that the recruitment team has started, and that was produced by their vendor for their needs. What I'm about to show you is something that we've worked with specifically out of the Community Relations Division, and it's only about a minute long, but basically it's a tease for something called We Are Metro Fire. And our goal is to highlight everything we do, from the normal of running fire engines, ambulances, and trucks, to what happens here at headquarters in the office with the different divisions, all the way up to air ops and some of the special operations units that we have.
We are.
We are. We are. We are.
We are. We are.
We are.
We are.
Nosotros somos.
We are.
We are Metro Fire.
We're trying to get, like I said, a highlight of not only everything we do, but also everybody that we have. And to piggyback on the concept of, you heard the Nosotros Metro Fire, we also worked with Pacific Gas and Electric and the California Professional Firefighters, which is an arm of the International, to do a couple PSAs, and those were in Spanish and Mandarin or Chinese. And those are going to look like the commercials that you've seen from PG&E with Auburn Fire and Salinas Fire, if you've seen any of those. And that will run north of Fresno throughout Northern California. I don't have anything on that right now, but what I do also have is something from Cal OES. We did a backyard pool safety PSA, and the English version is on our website right now on our homepage. And the Spanish version is hosted on not only YouTube, but also Cal OES's campaign page.
I didn't hear a thing. I saw him face down, just floating there.
Cada año en el estado de California, más de 50 niños se ahogan en las piscinas. Este número es igual de 2 clases de kinder cada año.
I started doing CPR, and look at him now.
Presten atención.
Be cautious of where your children are.
Escuchen.
That campaign is Silence is Deadly, and obviously listen. So I would like to thank Chief Hine for loaning us JP Savani from the EMS division to do that. JP is one of our most technically correct Spanish speakers in the district. He grew up speaking Spanish. He's actually from Spain, and he still visits Spain quite often. In fact, when we were doing that, he asked, okay, who's the audience? And okay, what part of California? Okay, then I'll use this dialect. And I'm sitting there going, gosh, I don't even speak English that well. Yeah, it was something to watch. So the next thing that we're doing from a video standpoint is the California State Fund Insurance, or State Comp, approached us. And they want to produce a series of videos on business safety. And the first one with that, the first series that we've been talking about, is real basic, just fire extinguishers. And it's about a 5-part at this time, conceptually. So it's how to use a fire extinguisher. If you have a fire extinguisher, where should it be located? And typically that's with access and egress in and out of a building. So we're really trying to, and that will be put on YouTube. So when you go to a YouTube page video and you see the little ad, of course you can skip it after 4 seconds. But that'll be one of those precursors to most of the videos that you see on YouTube. So we're really trying to increase the presence of ourselves, not just locally, but regionally and even statewide. And in talking with the recruitment team and Chief Casantini, our thought is a better image, a better reputation, more global and far-reaching will also help us recruit without specifically saying, come work for us. We want to be in people's minds when recruitment goes out and says, here's our application, come work for us. At the same time with that, we have 15,000 estimated contacts since the beginning of August through the middle of September. And a few of those things are Cal OES National Day of Preparedness, which is this Saturday in Old Sacramento. Truck 50 is going to be performing an automobile extrication demonstration. So they have, right before lunch, they'll be on this main stage or just off to the side of the main stage and do an auto extrication demo. We'll have our sidewalk CPR unit there. Community Relations Division will also be there with our materials. And there'll be about 5,000 people is what they've had there over the years. And also Copter 1 will be there. Throughout that, we have just a host of other large events. Like I said, 15,000 over the next 2 months just on, about 7 weekend days. Ukrainian Culture Fair, the Rosemont Community Celebration 2 weeks ago. That's always a big event, a lot of interest that we have there. The Hot August Bites in the Sunrise Parks District, they say only 1,500 people. I'd guess more like 3,000 from what I've always seen there. And then also just a lot of school carnivals. And tomorrow night, this didn't make the list, but we got invited by the Sac Sheriff to participate in a neighborhood ice cream social in Orangeville in Station 2829's border area. So that'll be a lot of fun for those crews. But we're trying to get out a little bit more, and we're trying to fly our banner a little bit wider across the region and beyond as well. So, thank you.
Outstanding, Captain. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
Any other comments for Captain Vestal?
Comment and
Yeah.
question. Thank you for that presentation. That was great. Are we looking into having like video of what the fire crews are doing, like on calls? So I'm just curious because we're talking about recruitment, and I'm sure that young people that watch those, it inspires them, or if they didn't have a direction, So I'm just wondering what we're doing to show like what they actually do on calls.
The recruitment team recently bought 5 helmet cams.
Okay.
Those will be deployed as soon as we can write kind of a guideline and a use policy. One of the questions is video storage. What do we have to do with that? So we're in the early stages of gathering the information that we need to figure out how long we need to keep it, where we need to keep it, and it's been enlightening reading the initial research on that. The other problem has been, as soon as I get a good video, I can use it, and I have used it a few times. We just don't get that much. A lot of what I get is somewhat static. It's of a building that's not on fire anymore. I'm always on the opposite side of the district, and I get to the fire 45 minutes after it's out, or after dispatch. But in those instances where we have, and this summer I had a few where I was actually on scene fast enough with vegetation fires that occurred down in this area. And those got a lot of views. We had one with the bulldozer and another one that had about 50 to 60,000 views, which is quite significant. We had a few others that also breached 50,000 views. And both of those, there were 3 or 4 consecutive videos that were each exceeded each other, and they were our highest views all the time at Metro Fire on our social media platforms.
That's great. That's awesome. I think those GoPros will be beneficial.
They go a long ways. They go a very long ways.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for the captain?
Maybe he can show me how to work mine better.
Thank you so much, Captain.
You're welcome.
Moving on, operations report. Don't have Chief Bridge.
We got Chief Neville.
Yes, welcome, Chief.
Good evening, lady and gentlemen of the board. Chief, filling in for Chief Bridge tonight. He's got a couple of things to do with his family. Since August 24th, call volume continues to be clipping along at about the same pace. 3,515 total calls and 6 structured fires. We're seeing obviously an uptick at this time of year for vegetation fires, but because of the recent weather, monsoonal moisture and whatnot, statewide, we've actually seen a dip in vegetation fires, although the national forests are continuing to see lightning strike fires, but they're not growing with the intensity that they had in the months prior. So because of that, all of our mutual aid or automatic aid or resources that we would normally send out, all of our engines are home, but we do have some overhead out. Currently at the Blanken Creek incident, we have 3 single resource elements out, and the Orleans complex, I believe that we're down to 1 now. One of them may be back or on the way back currently. Chief mentioned all of the recent promotions in the Captain's Academy. That's been dominating the operations division's time, and it's been nice, especially for those of us who've been around for a few years, to hit the reset button and go back to basics, if you will. So it's been a refreshing time in the operations section. A couple other news as we go around. This fiscal year, we're able to buy a shorter trailer for our Dozer 2, and that trailer will allow that Dozer to easily maneuver in tighter spaces. So we were able to work on that purchase this year. We've also are looking forward to a grant for NVG, or night vision goggles, for our helicopter program, and that'll give us the ability to see at night. The type of operations we're looking at is our rescue type operations and hoisting and being able to fly at night, provide an observation platform. October is about the date for funding, and we are prepared October 1 or whenever we get that funding letter to go ahead and purchase those things. We won't be fighting fire at night necessarily at first. That's very hazardous, but it will greatly enable or expand our capability. Currently, Air Ops was the only one that, only part of the division that turns its close sign on after dark. We won't have to do that anymore. So, the Fire Academy's in their 4th week with 31 recruits, learning a lot and motoring on, so that's a nice number for us, and that should help out on the bottom end with all of our promotions to date. With that, I conclude my report without any questions.
Outstanding. Thank you, Chief Neville. Any comments or questions? Thank you so much.
You bet.
Moving on to Local 522. Do we have anybody here for them? We do, but we don't have anything. Outstanding. Thank you. Committee and delegate reports. Executive Committee has not met and has no meetings scheduled. Communications Center, JPA, Assistant Chief Johnson.
Good evening. Thompson, our JPA has not met since your last meeting. However, we do have a meeting scheduled on the 29th right here in these quarters. So your next meeting, I'll have some really exciting stuff.
Thank you very much, Chief. California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA, Director Kelly.
Yes, the JPA has a meeting scheduled for the 21st of September, 4 p.m. Across the hall here.
And moving on to the Finance and Audit Committee, Director Kelly.
Yes, the Finance and Audit Committee received 2 reports from CFO Amanda Thomas this evening. We received a financial report for the fiscal year ending June 2017. It had some good news in it. And then we received a final budget for fiscal year 2017-2018, and it is, things are trending up. Our revenues are better, but still we're not out of the woods, and down the road we've got a lot of expenditures, capital outlays that are going to, force us to make some decisions.
Thank you very much. Moving on, Policy Committee, Director Gould.
Policy Committee will meet Thursday, September 14th, 5:30 in these chambers.
Board member comments and questions. We'll start to my far right with Director Gale, please.
No comment.
Director Gould?
Congratulations to all of those who are advancing in their careers. That's an exciting time, and hopefully relieve our mandatories, which will be a nice thing for the system. And then again, kudos to all of those individuals that worked at fire camp. What a wonderful thing that Chief Haverty thought about and then was implemented by competent people, and it's just nice to hear from young people what impact that they're having, or it's having on their lives. That's a good thing for all of us involved. And then just generally thanks to everybody, no matter what you do for this organization. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in, the extra hours that I know that you do, so that it makes all of us up here look really smart. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Moving over to the left, Director Kelly.
Yes, I too would like to congratulate those that are moving up in their careers. Certainly the academy that you guys are conducting right now is a good thing for all those involved. Fire camp, again, excellent program. I almost was a camper for a couple of times, but to tell you what, it was a pleasure to watch those kids having all that fun. And it's nice to see the employees of this organization come together and make that happen. They're having a lot of fun out there as well. And I would certainly encourage everybody that has a free day on the 9th, I guess it is, of September, to go out and watch the California Air Show. California Capital Air Show, I think it is.
Thank you, Director. Director Clark?
I have nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director Sheets?
I just want to echo the statements from the other board of directors. Congratulations to all of the captains who were promoted. Thank you for the presentations on fire camp, and I'm excited about the PIO's presentation about getting more recruitment out there with those videos to inspire people. And also I want to wish Scott Schneider best of luck and thank him for his years of service. That's all.
Thank you, Director. Director Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to echo everything that's been said, hearing that the international fire chiefs are seeking out this agency to host someone from another country speaks volumes of what this agency is and the trajectory it continues to go. I always say new eyes, new ideas, right? We're getting on a social media platform that we are. I like it. What I really like is the professional staff are included in that. They're the unsung heroes that make the operation work. Far too often, as you all walk through the building, because you're going to meetings and everything, they're not thanked enough, but to include them in that, it shows that this is a first-class organization, that everybody deserves recognition. So kudos to everybody involved. Again, when you have an industrial retirement, when your profession is taken from you before you are ready to retire, that is a tough thing. So we wish Mr. Schneider well. I hope things get well for him, and the community, not only the community, but the Metro Fire family continues to support him. So that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Director. There's nothing I can add to that. Just echo what everyone else has already said so eloquently. Our next meeting will be...
Director Wood?
Yes, sir.
Since there's nothing left on the agenda, would this be an appropriate time to report out from closed session?
It would be.
This would be a wonderful
before the
time. My
adjournment.
apologies. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
I just want to know how long he's been sitting on it.
Yeah. Waiting, buddy. Attorney to attorney jealousy going on there.
Well, in any event, the board met in closed session today to consider the workers' compensation claim of Scott Schneider, and by a unanimous vote, approved a settlement authority and gave directions to its third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that claim. The board also met in closed session to consider the industrial disability retirement matter pertaining to Scott Schneider, and no action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council. On that note, our next meeting is September 14, 2017 at 6 o'clock in this chamber, and we are adjourned till then. Thank you.